think I paused long enough this time. All right. Ooh, got some new followers. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to Super Secret Project Sketch. I am Eric Whalen from Super Secret Project X. Could I have made that more convoluted? I could add my middle name in there, maybe. Today, because I have a day off and I feel like drawing, I'm going to draw Chel from El Dorado. Really, probably one of the most unabashedly hot characters you see in American animation, and I just loved her character. She was just sassy and smart and sarcastic and funny, and dangerous is not the right word. I guess kind of dangerous, sort of, but not really dangerous. She was not a femme fatale.
She was very conniving. Well, not even conniving in the sense.
She's, you know, she was dangerous in that way, but usually when people say dangerous, they're like, you know, like she'll knife you.
She just knew what she wanted, and what she wanted was to get the heck out of there.
That's true, because she was just way too hot for that village. So she was. The first time I saw her and the way they animated her, I was literally like, holy cow. If this is how DreamWorks is, it's DreamWorks, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, that was DreamWorks.
Yeah, it's DreamWorks. It's early DreamWorks. I was like, if this is how DreamWorks is going to do their stuff, we're going to be in for decades of really good animation. And then they changed how they did things, and we still got some good stuff. But I kind of wish they'd kept their, and I like 3D, but I kind of wish they'd kept their 2D and kind of kept a little bit more of their. I don't know. She was a little bit more adult than you were kind of used to seeing. I mean, a bit. I mean, she was seducing the guys. The guys were clearly like, you know, this chick is okay, you know. But yeah, so I'm gonna draw Chel because I feel like this incredibly kind of stunning. Was she Aztec or Mayan? I could never figure out exactly what they were kind of alluding to, because I don't think they ever said it.
The lost city of El Dorado is, I want to say, is Aztec? Let's look it up.
I wish I was brainier, but I'm not.
I know the answer, but I'm just not recalling it right now because it's been a while since I've had to flip through those files and access that information. Let's see. Alright, according to Wikipedia, El Dorado. Let's see. Originally, El Hombre Dorado, Golden Man, or El Rey Dorado, the Golden King, was a term used by the Spanish Empire to describe a mythical tribal chief of the Muisca people, an indigenous people of the Altiplano. Oh, this is going to be fun. See.
You're doing better than I would have.
Cundiboyacense of Colombia, who, as an initiation rite, covered himself with gold dust and submerged in Lake Guadavita. The legend surrounding El Dorado changed over time as it went from being a man to a city to a kingdom and then finally to an empire. So, let's see. So, basically, it's south. But it was used.
So, like, what, Kentucky?
Yeah, the city of El Dorado. El Dorado.
El Dorado.
I love Dorados. They're good with that sauce, and I love the Cool Ranch ones.
Come for the gold, stay for the fried chicken.
I get El Dorado, like, powder all over my fingers. Lick it off. Cool.
You can still taste the cayenne pepper in it.
The Cool Ranch ones don't make my breath stinky.
Oh, I've been there.
Anyway, let's see. Mm, well, they have a lot. They mentioned various places like Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, northern Brazil.
I mean, I got that, but I'm talking about in the animation.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
did
what
they ever actually just kind of come out and ever like
I.
just sort of say?
I think it's kind of a mix because the area
Yeah, because I
the
couldn't tell by watching it.
the Muisca occupied the highlands of the Cundinamarca and Boyaca Department of Colombia in two migrations from outlying lowland areas. And at times, often more ancient civilizations also flourished in the highlands. The Confederation was as advanced as the Aztec, Maya, and Inca civilizations. So by the sounds of it, it was kind of like their that was their own thing, the
Okay,
Muisca.
cool. Because it's like I'm an expert, but I was like looking at it, going, "Well, that doesn't look like this stuff that I've seen, or that's." So I'm like, I was sort of guessing that they had sort of made sort of a big mixture, which is fine because I mean, there's all sorts of stuff in that area that just doesn't exist anymore, and we don't have records, and so it's like, okay, so we kind of needed to sort of make some stuff up.
See,
But I was kind of wondering if they had actually like, oh yeah, no, these are the.
yeah, I'm gonna. If I'm remembering a lot of stuff, it was more. A lot of the iconography was more Aztec. If I'm remembering with like the big golden hats and all that
Mm.
stuff. Let's see.
Well, it's that whole area is just such a wonderful kind of big mystery
Yeah.
because I mean, you know, all the Europeans that showed up and did how much damage over there, and
Yeah.
who knows what. Plus, what the tribes must have done to each other. Plus, who knows how much time. So it's kind of like I'm kind of willing to go like there's some mystery. I was just sort of like wondered if maybe they actually really did like a hardcore base it on something in particular, and which would have been admittedly very tough for them,
All right. Let's just.
other than just whole cloth taking what the historians are just
Well, let's just see if they tell us directly with the actual article about the movie.
Uh,
That
uh-huh.
would
There,
probably be the smart thing to do.
there's the thing.
Let's see, where's the inspiration? Okay, here's the initial motto story. Film follows two con artists who, after winning the map to El Dorado, escape from Spain. After washing ashore in the New World, they use the map to lead them to the city of El Dorado, where its inhabitants mistake them for gods. And then they talk about the movie, how much money it made, budget, blah blah blah. Huh, wow. Apparently it lost money. It
Really?
it grossed 76.4 million on a 95 million budget.
Ooh.
It was released March 31st, 2000.
I really remembered enjoying that. I mean, there were some bits to it that I was kind of like, oh, this is their kind of roughly emulating sort of what they did like in Disney stuff, and it had that sort of feeling like they were trying to evolve off of Disney instead of completely doing their own thing, which in some ways was good because there was a lot of the animation that I really, really enjoyed that was part of that whole tradition. But
Well, to be fair, that's around when Katzenberg had came on. He was from Disney.
oh, that's what I'm saying is I'm not remotely judging that uh, um, because they were clearly trying to evolve stuff, but I'm also kind of like looking at some of it going like if maybe they could have tried to take it a little further. I don't know. I don't know how I could have fixed the movie because I thought it was quite good.
Oh yeah, I thought it was really good.
Even though there was a few moments where I was going like, oh, this could have been a little this or a little that, but overall I thought it was a good movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they were trying to. I think they were trying to win over a lot of the the Disney crowd, because that was
Yeah.
those like between 96 to 2000 is when Disney stopped doing their princess sing along, or the musical ones.
I was so glad when Disney finally tried to give up that old crutch.
Well, as a Disney musical fan, I like the direction that they went. I liked a lot of the princess stuff, not because of the whole princess thing. I liked it because they actually had heart and store with a lot
Well,
of that
some
stuff.
of it was good, but the problem was is they just kept doing almost the same thing, and that's my problem with it.
And then when they went in another direction, people didn't like it. I mean,
Which was a
that's
shame because some of those were really fun movies.
that was, let's see, 90. I think 94 was Lion King, if I'm not mistaken. 95 was, I want to say, was Hunchback.
Had one good musical sequence in it, which was really good.
No,
But
I'm blanking on the order, but we had Hunchback, we had Tarzan. Tarzan was 99. I remember that. We had Treasure Planet.
I had some problems with Treasure Planet. I appreciated the attempt at doing something different.
It had the potential to be really, really good.
I think that's what my issue was. Is it didn't live up to what it could have been.
And we also had Atlantis.
I don't care what anyone says. Outside of a handful of things that was
Atlantis was
legitimately, there were issues with that movie. But the things that weren't issues were so good. The rest of it was so good. The stuff that was bad was like, I was literally in the theater cringing, going like, ugh! But the rest of it, I was going like, this is Disney? Like, this is really fun.
Yeah, they were.
And then there was the moments, but
Yeah, they actually came out and did say that they wanted to try and do a more boy focus, which that's what got me, was the fact that we want to bring more little boy viewers. It's like, I don't care about little boy viewers. I want to be entertained, and
yeah.
and it's like, if you guys want to do,
Well, that's that dumb corporate mentality of assigning certain qualities only to boys or girls.
yeah. Oh, that was another one, Pocahontas, that came out too. That during that time period. So yeah, Pocahontas I want to say was 95. Yeah, because that's Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Pocahontas, Hunchback. Yeah, I actually had the order memorized.
Been a little while since I jogged your Disney memory.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a lot of people think that I complain about Disney, and I don't. I look at Disney and I see what they've done in the past, and I think to myself how amazing they have been, the stuff that has been really good, and how much stuff the older they got was just very much like a crutch. Like, I'm going like, you're no longer really trying. Yes, you're pumping in a ton of money. Yes, you're getting a bunch of stars. And yes, your animators are as brilliant as ever, but as films go, a lot of them were super weak. I mean, super weak. So when Pixar started doing stuff, and I'm going like, Pixar acts more like old Disney to me than current Disney does. And outside of a couple real good Disney flicks, a lot of the modern Disney stuff, and I'm like quietly cheering for them, but I'm going like, I'm sorry guys, Frozen suffered from the biggest crime in any form of entertainment. It was boring. It was legitimately dull. It was just like, I could not
Which is funny.
pay attention to it.
That was one of their biggest, and
It's because the stupid singing crutch BS.
it genuinely made me upset.
I was just...
I wanted to like it, but they are going into
So
that,
did I, but it was boring.
Yeah, they're going into that. Let's pre-make stuff that we can use for musicals and all this other stuff later on, and
Musicals.
yeah, I mean,
Really?
because a lot of their stuff is now becoming musicals, and you can see with the live action and all that. I mean,
Musicals.
I am not against the princess stuff, but
I'm not against any of those
yeah.
elements in particular, but it's a crutch.
Yeah, I am against the fact of exchanging plot and story development for like 2 or 3 extra songs that
Oh yeah.
don't even
have
carry
anything
the
to do with
song
anything.
or carry the movie. No. And
That's why when I'm talking about stuff, I look at it and I go, Moana was an advertisement for a soundtrack. Because it could have been amazing. I was so excited about them finally doing something so significantly new.
yeah,
And really could be very interesting. And it was a freaking advertisement for a frickin' soundtrack.
I honestly gotta say.
And I was pissed.
Yeah, I honestly gotta say, Moana was the first Disney movie to break my heart in a bad way.
Disney for the first time truly made me angry with Moana. They made me completely just stop paying attention to Frozen. I mean, it was stunningly dull. It was really hard to pay attention to. But Moana legitimately angered me.
Yeah,
Like I was thankful there was dishes in the kitchen to go do so I could stop watching the movie.
when I've asked people what did they like about
Nobody
Frozen,
can give me a straight answer.
the answers I've gotten have always been, well, I like the music. And I'm like, okay, that notwithstanding.
Okay,
you know,
I guess that's a taste thing. I thought the music was horrifying. I don't care if the guy that made it is famous or whatever.
I'm talking about Frozen. But
Frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure there was some famous guy that got to do it, though.
To me, the music was. The music was. I don't want to say it was bland.
Completely
but
forgettable.
To me, yeah, it
It's
wasn't.
completely forgettable.
But that's the thing, like everybody has been singing it, and it's not forgettable to this current generation of people who love it.
Okay, to me it was entire. I don't remember a single thing about Frozen except for the need for me to pick up my sketch pad and draw something so I could keep my blood pressure up, and that stupid freaking snowman that was in it for no apparent reason.
Well,
I guess that would be an advertisement to sell a toy in that case.
Well,
It was just-
it was and what's her name, the lady who sung it out. Is it Lisa Mandel? Not Mandel. I'm black. I'm pulling it. When they announced her name on the Oscars, when she won an Oscar, they butchered her name. That was one of the funniest things. But
Yeah, I'm sorry they butchered her name, but my criticism is with the film now. if
no,
anything.
I'm saying that that's what I was doing. I was trying to remember her name, and I was butchering her name like they
Oh.
did on the Oscars. But she did a good job with the song and all. But it's like she was so advertising for the Broadway play.
Yeah, that's I don't pay $20 to go watch a Broadway advertisement or an advertisement for a soundtrack or an advertisement for toys. I go to a freaking movie to watch a movie.
Which is funny because we did that as kids with all the stuff that we watched.
Yeah, but the problem is a lot of those movies still remained to be decent movies is the problem. Some of them, yeah, were BS. I'm not even going to argue that. But like Rats of Nim, regardless of people's opinions of it, that wasn't an advertisement for anything. That was a film. Now, you may or may not like the film. That's up to you. But I enjoyed it as a kid, and it was a movie. Beginning, middle, end was there. They weren't advertising t-shirts or soundtracks, or there was some issues with the storyline, but that, I mean, no one's perfect.
Well, here we go. When Disney was coming to the end of the Disney Renaissance, which is around 94, 93, 94, and pretty much concluded, in my opinion, with The Lion King. In between that time, we also got, between 94 and I want to say 97, we also got the awesome gems of Goofy movie and
That was good.
And Emperor's New Groove.
That was really
Completely
good.
both
Yeah.
underrated.
Oh,
And-
those were the ones that I'm referring to as Disney doing a really good job on stuff. That was me going like, go Disney, go, keep doing this. And what did they do? They pretend as if those movies basically don't exist.
Well, they,
And I'm like, come on.
which is funny because now that we've had the anniversary and a lot of people our age and younger who remembered it are now calling for it to be a bit more a bit more visible.
Yeah, it's
now
a good movie. It's a Goofy movie. It's a great
Oh,
movie.
it was fantastic.
What was the second one called?
Extreme Goofy movie.
Yeah, that was. I actually think I might have enjoyed that one even maybe slightly more.
Oh,
because that whole real super sad sequence of Max leaving for college
yeah.
When I saw that, I was going like,
Empty Nest Goofy.
Oh yeah, I was going like, I'm feeling for Goofy, dude. I was like, holy cow! I was like, this poor dude. I was feeling for him. Which, by the way, I never had a singular ounce of that level of emotion at all in Frozen. Zero. I had boredom was the only real emotion I had. Goofy movie and an extremely goofy movie are excellent. They are so good. And there's no evidence of them trying to cram a toy or a soundtrack or a Broadway musical down my throat.
Alright, Emperor's New Groove was 2000. A Goofy movie was 95. So yeah, so I remember I was actually...
So good.
Yeah. But it's... They were really trying, and unfortunately we also got a couple of stinkers out of Disney during that time period too. Which one people never remember? Home on the Range. No one ever remembers that one.
I remember the name. I don't think I remember anything beyond that.
With Roseanne Barr as one of the talking cows.
Okay, strangely, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, no one ever remembers that one because that one was bad. It was pretty darn bad. I think I remember watching it.
Oh, there was the one with the bears. It was an Arctic movie. I thought the idea of it looked really good, but I'll be honest, I never saw it.
Disney?
Yeah, wasn't there, or was that like a DreamWorks? There was one Brother Bear.
Brother Bear. Oh yeah, that was. And
was that it?
Yeah. That was the Eskimo, the Inuit story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Disney, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Disney.
I was about to say. I was like, am I remembering this wrong?
Yeah, that's actually one of the ones that was in. That was, let's say, 2000 and.
Yeah, I can't say anything about that one because I've never seen it. I remember seeing clips going like, well, that looks interesting, but I never actually saw it.
It was also in that time period when they were doing the getting away from the princess and the princessaurus. That one was actually really good. It was the one sequence when they were. Was it the transformation sequence? It was one sequence early on where the music was absolutely beautiful because it wasn't a singing, it wasn't a musical, it was a...
it wasn't a moose bursting out into a song about escaping from the wilderness or something?
No, but they did have the two talking moose brothers that were in there. They were actually pretty funny.
Okay.
No, it was Mike Meyer and somebody else, but the thing is, the reason why they had them in there is because when the guy gets turned into the bear, he started understanding the other animals. Okay. So that's why all the animals could talk to each other.
Sounds like a decent enough story.
Yeah, and it actually was pretty good. It wasn't one of their, at least for me, it wasn't one that was like, oh, this is really good. I remember watching it going, this was really nice. It was beautifully animated, and like I said, the one sequence when I want to say it was the transformation sequence or something, but it was the musical now. When I just remember watching, like listening to it, just going, wow, it's actually setting the scene, and
good.
It actually. See,
music should do that. It shouldn't be there as an advertisement.
Music is a language just as much as words are.
Which is why I complain when Disney keeps doing their freaking crutch stuff. we had a Disney animator that worked at our studio. He was one of the guys that was let go. And I would talk to him about it, and he immediately was like, oh, you mean the blah song, the blah song, the blah song, and the blah song. And I can't remember, but he had specific names for them. Yes. And it was so known by and probably still is by Disney, that it's that formulaic, where and you just end up going like, no, I'm sorry, no. You write a story with characters. You don't take a freaking formula, to make money. If you do a good story with your characters and a solid plot and a good idea, and then, hey, maybe it's a musical, maybe it's a whatever, then it should work. Yeah, but to sit there and be that cynical.
Yeah, the formula is you have the intro song, you have the big crowd song that shows the entire cast, basically, or shows what's going on. You have the villain song. You have the sad moment, the heartstring pull moment.
Which doesn't work because you're like, sad moment, 3, 2,
Yeah,
1.
the sad moment.
Cue.
You have the redemption part, and then you have the victory.
Yeah.
That and which the thing is, that's you take those 6 parts, and every movie is a 3-part cinema. That's what it is. It's classically part 1, part 2, part 3, and they just broke that down into 2 songs per part.
Yeah.
Which is what it breaks down to for most musicals anyway.
Too formulaic. I'm sorry. It spoils your
that's
magic. It just does.
That's pretty much 100 years of cinema right there.
Well, and I get that, and I understand that they have to kind of have a certain amount of formula.
Mm-hmm.
They only have a certain amount of time. They have to beginning, middle, end. I get it. There's some working rhythms that just work. But when it's that cynical, when everybody goes like, hey, guess what? We're going to have a movie about a sunflower in Holland or whatever, and everyone goes like, oh, let's get Run DMC to do the group song, and we'll get some hip-hop in there. And you're going like, don't you even want to know what the script is? No, we don't need to know what the script is. Oh, we got a song about a Polynesian princess. She's going to go out on a big tribal quest. Oh, let's get the guy that did what is Hamilton. Thank you. I was like, it's an H name. It did Hamilton, and nothing against the guy, but there was a rapping Polynesian god, and nothing against rap. I would have said the same thing if they put heavy metal or rock and roll in that movie. It just was the weirdest choice. It was so strange.
What? And the thing is, I for that part, and I got into that was the most. That's the part that broke me.
I was
that
pissed.
Scene actually made me just.
Well, the disco crab really got me mad.
Is,
I was like,
breaking it down, I understood what they were trying to do as far as
they
like all
were trying to make money with soundtracks.
They were trying. I understood what they were trying to do as far as the color scheme and all that. I'm not talking about the soundtrack. I'm talking about the visuals, because it's that whole thing where how hue changes the deeper it goes underwater and all. And so all of the crazy colors, that part I understood. I was like,
crazy colors is fine, but it was a disco crab.
And that's why they were doing that, because of the weird color shifts. They were making it into a weird disco psychedelic.
That's fine that it was a disco psychedelic thing. I'm talking about the complete lack of a real plot point. It was just a freaking horrifyingly awful. It was just terrible. Yeah, it was a musical sequence instead of a really dangerous, exciting moment in the story.
And I know that, and I wasn't talking about that. I was separating that part away, because I was trying to pick out the positives of it. That, like I said,
that's a challenge.
That's what I'm saying. I see what they were doing with all the colors, because it's the whole scientific color shift. Like I said,
I'm agreeing with you, because I'm not saying that they didn't have. Because there was some interesting visuals there. Mm-hmm. It was the very foundation of the whole scene that I had an issue with.
Yeah, I know, and it was basically for me I was trying to pick out the positives, because I was like, no, once that scene hit and all that stuff, I'm like, no, I'm almost done. I'm going to stick with it to the end. I got to find something that's going to anchor me back and bring me back into it.
So once the sadist has you tied down and is torturing you, you just want to see what he's going to do next.
The electric shots start feeling good after a while.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to trust you on that one.
Because you walked away from it, so
I was getting nauseous.
But anyway, afterwards,
I was so pissed.
Because I was trying to pull the good stuff out of it. Anyway, from there,
so bad.
Let's see, Home on the Range was 2004, and was the last 2D movie Disney did before Princess and the Frog in 2009.
A decent movie. I thought that one could have been stronger, but it was decent.
Yeah, and it's.
But I thought it could have definitely been stronger.
I wanted it to be, with all of the stuff that they were touting about it, and with all the promises they made, they didn't deliver, in my opinion. Like I said,
no.
For what I saw, I liked, thought it was beautifully done.
There was a lot of neat stuff, but they fell back in the same stupid Disney garbage.
For me,
Let's get a crocodile that only 2-year-olds would enjoy watching.
For me, it was the.
Oh my god!
We finally have, and this is my personal thing here. We finally have a black princess, and she spends the majority of time as a frog. It's the black actor / animal thing where it's like when like Chris Rock was saying, like when you're a black voice actor, you can be a donkey, you can be a zebra.
Yeah, and I'm gonna skip past that point because there's nothing more that can be said about that because you're going like, yep. The issue that I kind of had was, and it's not that they had to make like a big deal about it, but you had the South in that time period, and to my recollection, not a singular grain of racial issues. It was just like pretending that America's past did not exist whatsoever. And I'm not going like, let's make this a huge political statement. It was just weird that it wasn't there at all. It was I at least not that I can recall. Was there anything?
No, and there wasn't. And to me, I'm fine.
Weird.
I'm fine with that because if that
it felt unnatural though.
For that to have been brought up, would have had to have an actual whole entire thing explained, and in a what was like a hour and a half, hour and 40-something minute movie. With the movie that they wanted to do, that you can't do that and have the movie that they had planned.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is this the movie felt weird because, and I'm not saying, like I said, it's not like make the villain a white supremacist. I'm not saying that, or make there a whole 40 minutes. The fact that there was just no indication of it, that it was sort of in this alternate reality where everything was hunky-dory in the South between black and white people, that there was no friction at all. It was just and like I said, I didn't want them to make that the point of it. But I like historical stuff, and when there's like stuff missing out of historical stuff that's kind of relevant like that, it felt weird to me.
Again, to me, I didn't miss it at all. I didn't think it was needed, and in all honesty, there's really not much you can say or do when the story involves around people becoming frogs and not about people with people.
Well, I mean, I really do. I get that. It's just there was something about it that just didn't. As a historical piece, and a lot of people are like, Eric, why do you care if Disney's doing a historical piece right? Because to me, you don't always have to make this stuff historically perfectly accurate. But on the same note, why make a historical piece if you're not going to make a historical piece? Like there's just it was like I loved the Wonder Woman movie until I hit the point where it was showing the World War I battlefront. That was really weird. It was like they just slipped through real easily the no man's land of World War I, and then they got to the town on the other side, and then the Germans were like, this superpowered chick just got past us with some other dudes. Let's have nobody in the German army look for them in the town. They were like, oh no, that's cool. They slipped through. We're not even going to send one guy to look for them. It was so weird, and I let it go. I did, but it also completely took me out of the movie. That's like Princess and the Frog. I was taken out a couple times, going like, it's really going to be this sugary and candy coated. And I'm cool that it wasn't a political statement. I'm saying it just felt weird.
Well, like I said, for me, I didn't miss that at all. I didn't want to see that in that movie because that's not what the movie was about. And
admittedly, I think it would have made it a darker movie, but I kind of have a hard time imagining the South in that time period with a whole lot of like light jovialness, because I'm just like, it just makes me uncomfortable.
You're also not a 7 to 10-year-old black girl. Just saying.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. But I have to look at these things as me watching them.
Yep.
and I like historical stuff, and that just I walked, like I said, it's just like the Wonder Woman movie. I kind of walked out of it going like, that was a lot of fun. I'm just gonna skip over everything I know, like about trench warfare
And that's what you should do, because a lot of that stuff, like I said, a lot of that stuff is not the point of the movie. So to me, there really isn't a need to have that much detail that's going to either take away from the main point of the story or add another hour into the story that's probably not really necessary. Yeah.
Look, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that when you do historical pieces, to me, I kind of want to see history there, and not sort of a candy coating of it. I kind of want, and not you don't have to do super deep either. Just there was just some stuff about that just felt a little weird to me. Is all. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I get it. It's like why would you want to go see a family movie? I was supposed to say of Disney where there was like slavery and stuff, but then there was that Song of the South or whatever.
Which is also that's a whole other can of thing. Disney announced with their Disney Plus service that they're not even going to put that on there. And it's like, most people like Disney, you can't ignore the racist tones by hiding them. Like,
no, it's historical show.
Do like Sesame Street did. Go, hey, this is what happened at this time period.
Yeah.
And this is what was.
Explain it.
Yeah, this is what was going on, and these thoughts are not what we deal with today. So,
yeah.
With that being said, here's this movie. I was saying, for me, I'm just mad that was it DreamWorks? Apparently, Home on the Range brought in $1.3 million.
Wow.
From 2004. I'm like, and I'm just like, wait, no.
Wow.
Well, no,
oh crap!
But they lost a bit though, because the budget was $110 million. Which, to me, I'm going to properly assume here that about 3/4 of their budget
was the stars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Roseanne Barr, Judi Dench. That's a pretty penny right there.
Judi Dench was in it.
Jennifer Tilly.
No offense, but why did you get her? And she's got to be expensive.
Jennifer Tilly, Cuba Gooding Jr., Randy Quaid, and Steve Buscemi.
Hey Disney, bring your animation budget down quite a bit and just hire real voice actors.
Oh man, a lot of the voice actors that are like out now, and even within the last 5 to 7 years, they've been making their displeasure known.
Oh, they should. That's bull. Why are stars that usually get paid $100 million to do a cracker commercial being brought onto something that they don't need to be in when these guys can do it for 1/10 of the price and be making way more money?
Who are
trained to do it, or that is what they do, and would be getting way more money than they do would normally.
I know there's been a couple of voice actors. Their thoughts on that. They're like, of course we don't like it.
Oh,
but of course we can't argue against a multi-billion-dollar studio when a actor who's very famously well known, or actor or actress comes in, or actor altogether, comes in and goes, hey, I like this part. My kid likes this stuff. Can I do this for my kid? And they go, sure. That's actually been a couple of things.
I've heard.
Everything else, I think it's just a general. Yeah, it's Disney
a dumb
trying
reason to put somebody in a movie.
And once Disney started doing that, then all of the other, besides was it DreamWorks at the time, and Sony afterwards, they started doing the same thing of bringing all of these big name people that little kids don't even give a rat's behind about who it is. It's like kids want to see funny voices, things falling over.
They don't
and
care
farts.
who these people are.
Yeah, they want to see farts. They want to see people falling over.
I want to see farts.
Yeah, I want to see farts too. They want to see things getting smashed over people's heads and the stupid classic lines of that one hurt them or ooh that's gonna hurt. They want to see the crap like that. They don't care who's saying the line.
Yeah, they don't care. Well, it was like the Penguins movie where the kids know the Penguins from TV. There's the voice actors that do them. And then they do a Penguins movie, and the kids are going to go see the Penguins. That's why they're seeing that. That's why they're going. That's why they're begging mom and dad to see it. And then they change the voice actors for the Penguins so they're not the characters that the kids fell in love with in the first place. What? That makes zero sense.
I just want to know how beautiful of a movie we get if they cut their acting budget and put it into the actual animation budget.
Oh, I know.
I know.
Yeah, exactly right.
I want to see that.
Exactly right. And you end up looking at it going like, guys,
actually, we have
you spent $100 million making a movie to profit $1 million.
Actually, we have seen that with Leica.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't recall. Okay, what's her name? Played Laura Croft. What's her name? Miss Cheekbones.
Yeah, Angelina Jolie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, big star. I give her credit, though. She really brought a lot to that performance. But on the same note, I have to be real honest and say, what other voice actors that didn't have to be probably paid so much money could have done just as well? And I'm not saying she did a bad job. She did an amazing job playing Monkey. She really did.
Oh, yeah, from on Kung Fu Panda, yeah.
Not Kung Fu Panda, from
She was Tigress from Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, she was Tigress from Kung Fu Panda, but she played Monkey.
I'm sorry, yeah, with Leica from
Yeah, we're talking about Leica.
Yeah, sorry, brain just completely
No, it's okay.
Went stupid for some reason. Yeah, she was
Kubo.
Yeah, Kubo and the Two Straight. Yeah.
Yeah, and she did a great job, so I'm not judging her ability. What I'm saying is, you don't have to spend $100 million to make an excellent animated feature.
Well,
you just don't.
Yeah, and even before then, when we had Paranorman and
Paranorman was so good.
And crap.
Caroline? That's not right. Coraline, that was it.
There was Coraline, there's Paranorman, and then the one after. Wasn't there something after that we were? Oh shoot! I feel like I'm missing one. I feel like there's something in between.
I feel that there isn't, but I'm blanking myself. Well, why don't you look it up?
Let's look it up. Leica.
Because Leica's a great example of just getting a movie done and creating excellent animated features. I'm not saying that you can't have stars in it. I'm saying, what's the point of blowing up your budget so large just to bring in? It's like, well, a third of our budget was the animation, all the production, all the blah, blah, blah. The other third of it was this star, and the other third of it was the other star. What part of that equation makes sense to anybody?
Box Trolls.
We never saw that one.
Yeah,
It looked really good, but I can't say anything about it because I haven't seen it.
Did I buy it for us to watch, or for some reason?
No,
it was on our Netflix queue, and then we.
That's right. We got super busy and didn't see it.
Yeah, Coraline, Paranorman, Box Trolls, Kubo, and then Missy Link that's out right now. But yeah, Coraline, it had some of the stars and stuff in there, but it's like
I don't have an issue with them being there, but if that's what's blowing up your budget, then why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody showed up, we'll just say Arnold Schwarzenegger for kicks and giggles. Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up. He wants to play a skunk in the new whatever movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's going to cost $100 million. Okay, but Arnie's like, I really want to do this. I'll do it for $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Then it'd be like, well freaking A, put him in. But are you telling me that there isn't like some voice actor that's been busting his hump for decades, that could just simply go in, do just as good of a job, if not better, for 100th, a 20th, a whatevereth of the price, and that person would have gotten like more money than they normally would have gotten, and like the star would have just been like, I've already got $450 million in the bank. They don't care. And why is the budget of your film so freaking massive? You don't. It's like Studio Ghibli. Most of their budgets are pretty under control. I don't know about their real current stuff.
But then when they come over here, when Disney brings them over from Japan, they blow it up by adding famous people doing the voice.
And they're unnecessary. And I'm not saying that they didn't do a good job, but it's unnecessary. Give it to people who are, affordable, that money would really mean something to, and it would allow them to be like, by the time they hit the end of their career and go like, man, I did 3 Disney features. I was the main dude on blah blah blah, and I was a secondary here, and I played the skunk, and I played the skunk on this movie, and I was Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whatever, and you'd just be like, and he's playing a skunk,
Side note: Laika was also a Soviet space dog who became one of the first animals in space.
Oh yeah, I seem to remember that name. Okay.
And the first animal to orbit the Earth. So.
Now, did they name themselves after that, or was it just a coincidence? Because I'll be honest with you, I like Laika, but it's not like you could quiz me on them.
That's a good question. Let's see if they have anything about that history. Yes, it is.
Oh, that's awesome.
In July 2005, the successor to Will Benton Studios, Laika, was founded and named after Laika, the dog sent to space by the Soviet Union in 1957.
Oh, neat.
It opened 2 divisions, Laika Entertainment.
Good thing McCarthy isn't around anymore. Communists!
Don't get me started. But, they also announced their first project, a stop-motion film Coraline, based on the book of the same name, and the CGI animated film Jack and Ben's Animated Adventure. Okay. But yeah, like, cause there's a couple of the podcasts that I listen to, and a lot of the voice actors, they've voiced their displeasure.
Well, they should.
Talking about
so stupid.
Yeah, and they said they're like, this is not to mean or not to insult.
No.
The actors, because we're actors just as much as they are.
Yeah, I don't want to insult them. I just don't understand the studio's decisions.
And that's what they're saying. They're like, they're like, we wish we could get just a bite of the money that's being paid to these guys for these roles.
For really no other reason than there's some executive with some formula in his head as to how money has to be made. And you end up looking at it going like, and that's what really gets me. It's like, it's not necessary. It wasn't necessary before, you started doing this. And you weren't doing it before, and you were making money. Now you're making these mega films with mega budgets that you just can't legitimize with your sales, and then you're like, well, it was a big flop, and it was like, it wouldn't have been a big flop if you hadn't blown 2/3 of your budget on a bunch of stars that didn't need to be in the movie in the first place. Not that I'm a huge expert, but come on, that's just kind of math,
Angelina Jolie was not Monkey.
She wasn't?
No,
Who was?
That was Charlize Theron.
Their faces are similar. They got their faces messed up.
Yes, that is Charlize Theron.
Ah. 2 different empresses of cheekbones. My bad. I got it screwed up. Okay, well, she's probably still considered a fairly large star, though.
Oh, yeah. She's done...
She was in...
And she's been in a lot of 1990s movies.
She was in Fury Road. That's probably the only one I know, but...
Let's see. Her filmography. Let's find out. Come on. Yeah, she was... Yeah, duh. She was the Fury Road.
What?
In Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, she was...
I know.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that's the only thing I really know her from. I was like, who is this? Well, she's awesome. But I was like, they're like, Charlize Theron. I'm like, who? I don't know this person. I'm sorry.
She was also the lady in come on, brain, come on, Hancock. She was the other superpower lady.
Okay, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Let's see,
she was the ultra blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which is funny because she also did a movie called Atomic Blonde. Which I wanted to see that one. We actually saw the trailer.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar now. Yeah.
Let's see. Come on. Let's see. Filmography. There we go. I don't want to see her look it up, but good for her. She wants to see the movie she's been in. We have a list. Oh, okay. Let's see. Children of the Corn 3.
Okay, what was that?
It's like one of her first movies, Children of the Corn 3.
Awesome.
I remember That Thing You Do. I remember that was a 90s movie. Devil's Advocate, Celebrity, Mighty Joe Young, Astronaut's Wife, Cider House Rules, Reindeer Games, Yards, Man of Honor, Legend of Bagger Vance.
Then some of these are familiar by their title, but I don't think I've seen most of them.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen any of them, but I know their names because I remember they all had just weird, wacky names. When they see, she was Aeon Flux in the live action movie.
I think I saw 20 minutes of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is decent, but it doesn't resemble Aeon Flux at all, so I think I just stopped watching it.
Well, she was the narrator for Astro Boy when we saw that, which that was another good one. That was underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a decent movie. I was kind of disappointed when that studio went under. I liked their shtick.
We have the DVD. We should probably do that for movie night.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We haven't watched that since we bought it. It's been like almost 9 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the last things I bought before Blockbuster closed down off their sale.
Oh, Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a. We went out to get Chinese food last week, and it's like right next to a Blockbuster that closed, but they never.
Oh, okay.
that never reopened.
Okay.
So all the stuff is still sitting in there, and it's been rotting since then. So you walk by, and it's just like this weird, dusty time capsule in there. It's weird. We drive by it all the time.
Oh man, because I'm kind of tempted just to go and take a look in there. Wow.
Yeah, we can stop and you can check it out, and Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just go like, huh.
Oh, she's going to be the voice of Morticia in the Addams Family animated that's coming up here.
Yeah, and again, nothing against her, but you end up going like, how many voice actresses out there that just normally do this stuff could have simply done that part, and they could have saved a bunch of money, and that voice actress could have gotten more money than they normally see. I mean, I'm not like doing like the whole revolution kind of a thing. I'm just going like, guys, you don't have to raise $100 million to do a freaking animated movie. You just don't have to. And that means that if you don't have to raise $100 million, you're going to get a bunch of the business people off your backs, and you can actually make some dangerous decisions instead of have to play it safe all the time. That's why it's like, if anybody was ever like, would you want to make movies? I'm like, well, sure, I'd love to sell my stuff for properties and blah, 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 and get involved and yada, yada. You want to get $100 million to do it? I'm like, no, get me the amount of money it takes for them to stay off my back. So if that's $30 million or $20 million, and give me that amount, so I can make a movie the way it's supposed to be made, instead of having a bunch of people that know jack and squat about character and story telling me what to freaking do. Because I would much rather have a much smaller budget. I would much rather have a much smaller budget, get a hold of a bunch of professionals that work for a decent amount of money, including the voice actors, blah, 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 and just make a freaking movie. Instead of these ridiculous, bizarre things we've been making since the 90s. And it's one thing if you literally need $100 million to make a movie. Some things are just that big. I'm assuming that the Avengers movies are just that big and there was no way around it. Actually, I'm assuming that if you look it up, you're probably looking over that amount of money. But for an animated feature, even a really well done one, what the hell? Mr. President, what the hell? I mean, seriously. I mean, come on.
I want them to keep the budget, but just put all of that towards the creative process. Give
me
a good story. Give me a good animation.
But that's the problem. I'm trying to remember where I heard this. If you have that amount of money, you have that amount of money because specific people gave you that amount of money, and they very much care to get that money back. Mm-hmm. And so, therefore, you need to play things very safe. Oh. So you have to do what they want you to do. So that means that if you have that amount of money, you're not in control of the movie.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, you're.
So suddenly, Chris Rock is playing your main female lead because you need a star. or whatever. That's what's going to happen, and you have no choice. It's like, okay, well, I accepted this amount of money. They have control. They can pull the budget any time. That's why I'm just like, I would rather just see stuff where people are going like, you know what, just let me make a good movie and stay off my back. I'm serious. I just, on the same note, if somebody was like, hey, Eric, want $100 million to do blah blah blah, your cut is the amount of money it takes to retire for the rest of your life. I will sell out in a heartbeat to do that. But after that point, I would be like, I need money. What do you want? I need heat in the winter, food in my stomach. But after that point, I would just be like, let's just make these wonderful little animated flicks. I mean, you look at a lot of the really good stuff in the past, and their budgets were comparatively tiny. And they, every once in a while, would have somebody like Vincent Price or something, which would, by the time Vincent Price was doing animated stuff, he was a B-level guy, as much as I like him. Blah, blah, blah. And you just think, I just don't get why they do the stuff they do, because they don't need to. It's like you look at Japan's OVA kind of industry, and the craziest things are made over there. You have entire anime about the most ridiculous subject matters possible, and you're like, well, how did they get money to do this? Well, they didn't get $100 million to make it. They got like, we can do this for this amount of money, and we get the job done. And suddenly the fans of Uno, like there's going to be, let's just say there's an Uno anime where all the girls have big boobs and they play Uno, and at the end they play the Uno championship against the Uno dragon. I don't care, whatever it is, but they can get it done. We come over here and they're like, well, we could do it, or we could blow it up to a project so large that, it's guaranteed to fail. Just, why would you do that? I mean, there's some groups that can pull off. Pixar can pull it off. Pixar is amazing. But most groups, including Disney, is not Pixar. I don't care who owns who or who's attached to who. I just don't care. There are two different things. Pixar is old Disney, new Disney, outside of Zootopia, which was amazing. I think it was an accident that they did it.
With Zootopia, that was a success because they actually got people to work on there who actually know about the stuff that they're
doing. Zootopia was just period amazing.
I mean, hey, let's make a movie about furry animals doing stuff. So what do? You get a person who's actually involved in the anthropomorphic community to do stuff. Who'd have thunk it?
I know. Let's just make a movie where the story's great, has great characters, and there's stuff going on. Hey, why don't we break in with an intro song? Nope, stop.
Well, they probably did, except she wasn't singing it.
No, it's okay that there's music and stuff. But I tell you what, I enjoyed Brave. I really did. I thought Brave was a lot of fun. I cringed during the sequence that was basically her going up to the waterfalls and stuff, and there was background music, because I'm like, if she starts singing, I'm going to be so angry with Pixar.
They wouldn't do that. They didn't do that.
They were flirting with it, though. I was sitting there just literally squirming in my seat going, don't do it. Don't just go. And then the whole bunch of BS about my emotions and how I want to break free or some BS. Well, heck, she could even do like some great song that I actually legitimately like, and I still would be pissed, because it's like, what does that have to do with the story? Now, you actually give me a song that really does something for the story. I can think of only a handful of them in Disney that did it. I didn't care for Hunchback of Notre Dame too much, though I liked a lot of the artwork in it. But Hellfire was an amazing sequence. It totally added to the movie. So there's instances where it worked. But most of the time I'm just like, 3, 2, 1, here's the soundtrack advertisement. I'm trying not to sound like a total, like, doofus here, but it's just... When you've got decades of this now, you're just like, guys, there's good movies out there. You could be doing those good movies. No, we're going to do a Disney princess movie. Okay. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Gonna go see it, Eric? No, sorry. If I had kids, I probably would be forced to go take them, but... anywho. Oh, we are over an hour, and we got a viewer! Oh, wait a minute, that's you. My viewer's on the couch. My viewer is on the couch. Someday, people are going to watch me.
I think we had a viewer pop up for maybe a few seconds because I looked down and saw that something was different, and then it went away.
Possibly. I mean, my feeling is it's just going to take a while to...
Yeah.
Because people go to Twitch mostly for video games. I'm not an idiot. I get that.
Well, not only that, but we also don't have much social media presence.
And we need to work on that.
Yeah.
We need to work on that. But the fact is, I draw because I enjoy it, so... Alright, so, traditional ending to an episode where I have characters on the opposite sides of my sketchbook. Chel from El Dorado. Meet Ricardio. Oh my. Oh, sealed for freshness, forever smooching in my sketchbook. Okay.
Well, considering that was one of the southern ancient cultures that without people still bidding harsh, and Ricardio.
Ricardio. Alright. Well, everyone have yourself a good day. If anyone ever catches this, and I will catch you later.
Be good to one another.
Be good to one another.